Hey folks, Miles Cranston from Fair Life Health Coaching and Fitness. Just wanted to come to you from my favourite happy place, which is the bush. I've sort of come in here today just to get a little bit away from life and everything like that. And I've actually ended up having to go a bit off track today, which I don't normally have to do, but unbeknown to me, the school holidays are still in effect. And sometimes you want to get away from everybody, you just got to go a little bit off track. But, finding a happy place is so important. Finding a place where you can de-stress and detune, even if it's only for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or, for a whole day. Wherever that place might be or whatever that might be for you is vitally important. For me, as I said before, it's about getting into the bush, it's about getting into nature, it's about taking the dog and taking the tent and just basically losing myself in the bush and enjoying the peace and tranquility that actually brings me. But for you, it might be something different. Some people enjoy crowds. Some people enjoy being around people and socialising, and they find that quite relaxing, and that's absolutely okay. Whatever it is for you is whatever it is for you. But I sort of encourage you to sort of make an effort to try and do that. To sometimes go for a walk along the beach. That might be somebody's idea of relaxing. It might be good for you to go for a bike ride. Or just to sit down and quietly read a book in the sun, or write a story, or do whatever it is, But finding your mental space, finding your place where you can reconnect, where you can start to feel at peace again is vital to, finding ways to sort of safeguard our mental well-being. Otherwise we don't charge. It's a bit like sort of running a car which doesn't get a service. Eventually that car's going to break down, and you get warning signs. You get little warning signs along the road saying that the oil pressure's too high, or the temperature of the engine's too high, or it just starts misfiring. And it's a bit like that with people too. Sometimes we can go through life without a service, and we can just get so inundated with and overwhelmed by all the stresses of the world. Let's be honest, we live in a world right now which is very stressful. It's a world of uncertainty. It is not the same world that, I grew up in as a child and running around as a scout in the hills above Eastbourne and Wellington and just enjoying sort of building bivouacs and all sorts of fun stuff we did as kids. But, it's not like that today. Today we're at a place where we're facing the prospect of wars and economic recessions and all sorts of hard time, and it can be quite overwhelming to sort of take all that stuff on board and just keep trying to go in and do a day's work, but then just be filled of our heads with all sorts of stuff on social media, on all these sort of platforms. And then some people sort of like to play video games. My son is a great video gamer. And he enjoys it. And I used to sort of think, why is he doing this? Why is he sitting on his computer all day? But for him, that was his way of tuning out. He has a busy job, working as a mechanic, and, sometimes he can get stressed, and he's doing full-time study right now. And so, for him to get home and just sort of lose himself into a video game, that's his way of de-stressing, of switching off the world, and stuff like that. And so whatever it might be, whatever it might be for you, I just really encourage you to sort of set that time. And sometimes that's what you got to do. Sometimes you got to set the time. You got to set the time to say, like, today we are going into the bush, or today I'm going to go for a walk on the beach, or today I'm going to start reading that book that I've always wanted to do. Start doing that craft, or whatever it might be that you find relaxing. So I'd encourage you to make a time. We schedule appointments for the gym, or we schedule appointments with our doctors, or with our work appointments and stuff like that. But it's vitally important to schedule time to zone out too. Actually put in your diary, block out the time, so that, this Friday from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I'm going to go for a walk in the bush, or I'm going to go for a walk on the beach. Whatever it might be, schedule that time in, because once you schedule that time in, then you're committed to it, and then the recharge that you're going to feel is going to be amazing. And how best to take that time? Some people like to have a plan. They like to say, okay, we're going to go in the bush and we're going to walk to this place and we're going to stay there and we're going to do that. But, sometimes it's just good just to go without a plan. Just take the day as it comes. Take the walk as it comes. I didn't know coming in today, for example, that there was going to be so many people in here. I thought the school holidays were over and everybody was going to be back at school. But no, it is a very busy track. So that's okay. I'm not going to let that get to me. I'm just going to pivot. Fortunately for me, I've got a lot of bushcraft knowledge, so I can safely go into the bush a bit and get away from the crowds and not feel that, I'm putting myself or anybody else at risk. So yeah, that's not an issue at all. But, be prepared to pivot. Be prepared when you go to your favourite spot to read your book on the beach that there might be somebody there. Hey, that's okay. Just move along or find another spot, or even take the time to sort of get to know some people, if that's rocks your boat, depending on what you want to do. Sometimes we sort of, sign up for hobbies and sign up for ways and it doesn't work out, or it could lead us to discover something really, really cool. But you got to make a start, folks. You got to make a start to get out there and recharge the batteries. I mean, it is so important. Like I said before, we are literally overwhelmed right now with so much negativity in the world. I mean, literally, the best thing I suggest you do straight away is switch off the news. I mean, let's be honest, the mainstream news media are not really telling the full truth about what's going on. They're really just sort of, pushing an agenda that, for whoever's agenda that might be, but you're not going to find the absolute truth there. And you're going to find yourself frustrated. You're going to find yourself irritated. You're going to find yourself depressed with all the negative news that's going on. So, I really encourage you to switch it off. By all means, be informed, but, don't sort of pay too much attention to it. And, don't let it interrupt your space. If you come into the bush, for example, leave the phone home or switch it off. Keep it with you for emergencies. Yes, that's important. But, switch off the, put it on airplane mode. Put it on airplane mode and just stop and enjoy the sound. I mean, I'm surrounded by birds making all sorts of noises here. And, the sun, I don't know if you can see that very well, but, look at some of the views up here. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. And I absolutely love it. I mean, this for me is just heaven. I could quite happily live out here permanently, to be honest. But, life, hey, commitments, we need to. But that's okay, because getting out here once in a while is great. And it helps me to de-stress. So, yeah, find your space. That is my key advice. Find a way or place or activity that helps you to rewind. Reset, take yourself in for a service, get a checkup, find out what's going on. I mean, one of the things that I do in my business, Fertile Life Coaching, is do health checkups for people, where I take people through a range of exercises and movement pattern stuff and just some questionnaires to sort of find out where they're at, take their blood pressure, do a fitness check, do all these sort of things, and then say, hey, at the end of the day, this is where you are. But that's a physical checkup. What I'm talking about is a mental checkup. So sort of have a moment to stop and think about what's going on in my life. What am I feeling today? And how could I make that feel better? Take some stock. I journal every single day, and I write in a journal each day where I'm at with each area of my life, whether that be physical, whether that be mental, whether it be spiritual, whatever area of my life it could be, financial, business, you name it. And I just do a little spot check. How are we feeling? I rank myself out of 1 to 10. How are we feeling today? And if it's all sort of sitting above 7, 8, that's fantastic. That's pretty good. That's pretty average, and I can live with that. But if I identify an area that's sitting on a 2 or 3, hey, I want to address that area, because I want to find that balance in life. So I'll sort of ask myself a question, what can I do? And sometimes if I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed mentally and feeling a little bit down about stuff, and I sort of have a little check and I ask myself, when was the last time you had some time in the bush? When was the last time you just went and spent some time doing the stuff that you love doing? And then more often than not, I'll realise I haven't been for a while. And so the first thing I need to do is make that time to get in here and keep that balance. Just like I said before, we make time to go to the doctor, we make time to do exercise, we make time to, research a better food and diet, but our mental well-being, that is vitally important. You get that sorted out, everything else will flow a lot more easier, and you'll have that clarity. You won't be sort of lying in bed at night thinking about stuff, or you might be worrying or stressing about a situation that you have no control of. I mean, the first thing you got to say to yourself is, can I control this? And often you can't, but sometimes finding small solutions can make a difference. And it's when you go into those quiet times, into that sort of place that you feel at peace, that you often find those solutions. So, that's my little bit of advice today. Find your happy place, whatever that might be. Schedule the time to go there and really enjoy it. Take the moment to just take the time and just observe. Be still, be quiet. And I really encourage you to make a change, make a commitment to doing that, and just sort of see how you feel.